Hello, how are you, sir?
Is this the second time I've seen you?
No, first time.
Oh, first time.
That was John.
Governor, a big announcement this morning from DHL.
Yes.
We now know that it looks like that community is going to lose 8,000 jobs. What can the state do for this community and those folks, and what do we do now?
Well, we're doing what we'll continue to do, what we've been doing over the last several months. I will be in Wilmington tomorrow. I hope to be able to talk to some of the community leaders and so on. But as you know, we put in place months ago a task force to work on this problem if worst case scenario occurred, and it appears that DHL has made a firm decision. So we'll be going to Plan B. Plan A was to work to try to keep the facility open and the jobs in place. But we always knew that if DHL finalized this decision and proceeded, that we would have to go to work on then trying to assist the community and the workers as best we could with the resources available to us in terms of job training and other kinds of supports. And we'll proceed to do that, obviously. This is a very sad time for the community and for the workers involved. It's an example, it's one of many examples of incredible economic dislocation that is occurring throughout our state and throughout our nation, and increasingly throughout the world. It seems to me that we are entering a difficult period of recession that requires, I think, assistance from our federal government. And as I said earlier today, I would hope that even before Barack Obama is sworn into office on January the 20th, that the current Congress would convene and do what they could to provide some assistance to the states who are hurting so desperately during these economic difficult times.
What specifically would you like to see in a bailout or assistance plan that would help the workers in Wilmington?
Well, there are several things that I think the federal government could do. One, extend unemployment benefits and give us resources so that we would have what we need in the unemployment fund to pay benefits without having to go into heavy borrowing in order to do so. That's certainly one of the things that they could do. But there are various ways that they could help the states. And the more resources that I have as governor, the more the benefit that we could provide. But I mean, we're talking about DHL. We could also be talking about the hundreds of workers that were informed that they were losing their jobs last week in the Youngstown area, or we could talk about the 2,000 or so in Moraine, or we could talk about the 850 in Toledo. So this is a very serious problem. I believe the economic challenges facing the country, and it's impacting our state obviously, are the most serious that we've faced since the days of the Great Depression. This is not the usual ebb and flow of an economic cycle. This is a very dramatic change in the way this economy is operating, and I will say I am very disappointed that the federal rescue package that was passed does not seem to have made any difference in the lives of real Ohioans. In fact, in some ways, it seems that those resources have been used in counterproductive ways. P&G bought National City. National City has about 9,000 employees. You do not help job creation by encouraging mergers and acquisitions. And that's exactly what happened there. Some of those resources are being used to pay dividends. I don't think that's an appropriate use of those resources. One of the reasons cars aren't being purchased in Ohio and across the country is people are having a difficult time accessing credit. One of the things that we had hoped would happen as a result of the federal bailout was that there would be a loosening of the credit markets, and people would have access to resources, so they could continue to to buy products and make purchases. So we've got some serious problems, and quite frankly, the leadership that we are seeing out of Washington, D.C. seems, at this point, hugely inadequate.
Governor, question for charter schools. Now that Democrats control the House, is that something that you're going to revisit, try to do something?
Well, I don't know how you can argue with accountability and transparency, and that's what I'm calling for. I think some good steps were taken in 2007 to bring about greater transparency and accountability, and we just want to make sure that those efforts continue.
So no moratorium or something along those lines of trying to reduce the number of charter schools?
Well, I continue to be very troubled about for-profit charter schools, and I continue to be concerned about the significant numbers of charter schools that were, in effect, grandfathered in and not under the authority or the supervision or the oversight of the Board of Education. Most charter schools are, as you know, subject to that kind of oversight, but a number of charter schools are not. They were specifically exempt, and many of those charter schools are the most failure prone. And so in those ways, I would like to see some tightening up.
So those are the schools you're going to focus on then?
Well, I'm concerned about those schools, yes.
What might the next steps be in terms of accountability? Can you give us some examples about what you might want to do to make schools?
Well, first of all, I would like for all charter schools, including those that were exempt, to fall under the oversight of the Board of Education. We have some very good charter schools, and I acknowledge that they are well run. They are achieving desired goals, and they're very transparent. But there are others that are much less so, and so I would like for that kind of transparency and accountability to be broadly implemented.
Can I ask a follow-up on
Sure.
the unemployment compensation fund?
Sure.
That fund's supposed to run out of money at the end of December, early January. There is no plan right now to do anything about it. What are you?
Well, let me say this. We are going to continue to make sure that unemployed individuals receive benefits. And, we'll likely end up doing, if we don't get some direct assistance from the federal government, likely do what